All right. Good morning, guys, and good afternoon, good evening. You might be seeing this from several species, and it's important to say welcome back to my channel for those that have been a subscriber before now, and for those that are seeing this for this first time or for the first time, I meant to say thank you for checking this channel. It is generally made to bless people in the areas of relationship building and having healthy relationships and great marriages. Very quickly, my name is koreymichael, and if you've heard me before now, you must have heard me say something like I live to see people have healthy relationships and wonderful marriages. And so, very quickly today, we'll be sharing something I believe is going to bless your heart, something I believe is going to help you build a better and a healthy relationship once again. And it is simple. It is why you and your partner are yet not 5 and 6. Why you and your partner are not yet 5 and 6. Now, the word 5 and 6 is generated from a slang. If you're in Nigerian, you would have heard people use the word 5 and 6 very well. Although it is misconstrued, it's supposed to be 4 and 5 because it is actually generated from those who are lovers of football. And so it's actually supposed to be 4 and 5. It is the way the central back, which is the defending positions, work together, which is 4 and 5 on the pitch, the way they work together. But people misconstrue it for 5 and 6. But anyways, what I'm just saying is why you and your partner are yet not very close. I just want to give few reasons to why you and your partner are not yet very close. As much as compatibility can be discerned, whether before entering a relationship or before starting a relationship or before marriage, as much as there are levels of compatibility that can be discerned. So for instance, this person shares the same interest with you, the same belief with you, the same belief system with you. This person sees life in a particular way that you see life. That's a level of compatibility, for instance, that can be discerned. Now, there's also a level of compatibility that will need to be worked out. And that is why this message is very, very important. So, very quickly, let's dive into the few reasons why you are not yet 5 and 6, or why you are not yet in close intimacy or close with your partner. Number one, you are not yet close with your partner because you are not yet sensitive. You are not sensitive. Now, amongst the many definitions that you will find for being sensitive is the ability to actually be able to notice and observe the changes that exist, from little to big changes that exist with another person or with a thing. That's the ability to be sensitive. There will be times when we will go wrong. There will be times when we'll do wrong things. There will be times when we'll make mistakes. You see that? And so, for instance, if I'm in a relationship with someone, I know and I've accepted that there will be times when I will make mistakes. You see that? So the ability to notice what my mistakes or what my wrongs changed for my partner, maybe change in their reaction, change in their gesture, change in how they said something based on what I did. Now, because of this weakness and because of the reaction it might bring or the response it might bring, it's important to be very, very sensitive. And when you are sensitive, you know, there are a few questions that will be raised. Questions like, are you fine with the way I sounded the other time? The way I sounded the other time, is it fine with you? Hope I didn't sound rash the other time. Do you see that? Are you comfortable with what I said the other time? Maybe because you sensed something, you noticed something, and you want to, as much as possible, be aware. It's the ability to want to be aware of the little changes that happen. So you notice something with your partner, you notice a different gesture, you don't just let it pass away. You see that? You don't just let it go. You can ask, is there something I did the other time that made you act that way? I noticed your gesture the other time, it wasn't too fine. Is there something I did? And they probably would communicate what they did or what you did or what they noticed, and you immediately want to let them know, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I didn't intentionally did that. Now, the reason for this is because regardless how perfect we think we are, or how better or how good we think we are working with someone else. And there are some things that we could even do that might be right, but they might not see it the same way. And so it is important to be able to notice and observe little changes like their gesture. You see that? To be able to ask at other times. You see that? And you see, this allows that grudges be taken away almost immediately. It doesn't allow for the accumulation of grudges. You see that? So immediately grudges is taken away when it is not discussed, when it's not observed, when it is not nailed in the moment or almost close to that moment. There's a possibility that grudges begins to increase or accumulate. You see that? So it is important that we are sensitive to be able to ask these kind of questions. It allows for the reduction of grudges. Grudges are not accumulated. And another thing it does is it allows for the partner or for each other to feel cared for. It allows each other to feel heard. You see that? It allows each other to feel safe, and it allows everyone feel cherished and acknowledged. So being sensitive is very, very important. It's important that you are sensitive to the needs, to the signs, to the changes that your partner gives. You see, and now another reason you are not yet close or so close with your partner is because you are not thoughtful. Now, thoughtfulness is the ability to demonstrate kindness, thought, and consideration for another person or a thing in doing anything. You see, when you start being thoughtful, one of the things that happens is you now become intentional. You are intentionally wanting to be aware of the other person before doing anything. You're not just doing anything because you like it. You're not just doing anything because you want to do it. In fact, many partner falls into this fall rather into the cobwebs of this limitation. Now they naturally just know that some things are right. Everyone just know that some things are naturally right, and that just makes them want to just go do ahead that thing straight. But you see, people have peculiarities with the way they receive love. You see that people have differences or different understanding with the way they receive love. Now, it doesn't make that action different. It just means that they are different persons, and so the way to receive it might be different, or the way to see it, or the way they view it might be different. And this is the more reason why you are their partner. You want to know them. You don't just want to do things because you want to do it. You want to do it the way they receive it well, the way they feel hurt in that thing, the way they feel like you did it because you know them. You did it in a way they would like. Now, you serve food to people, or you serve food to different people, whether it's the guy serving the husband, the wife now, or whether the wife is the one serving the husband. You see that? Or you gift people generally, couples or spouses, whether in relationship or in marriages, gift people generally. It's a good thing to give people. But when you are thoughtful, now you are intentional to be aware of the things or the peculiarities that the person likes. A lot of messages, for instance, can just go like this: you are the sugar in my tea, you are the love of my life, thank you for being good, thank you for. But when you are thoughtful, one of the things that happens is it pushes you or it pressures you to become more intentional with your words. I'm so grateful for the stew you prepared yesterday. Thank you for adding this to that yesterday. You are so intentional because you are thinking. It makes you not just do things because you want to do them, but it makes you do things the way your partner wants it to be done, or the way your partner will best appreciate it to be done. That's the ability to be thoughtful. So you don't just gift them. It is not just in the gift again. It is about how the gifts or the things that happens around giving them the gift or gifting them. You see that? So sometimes for some persons, gift can be wonderful. Gift is generally wonderful. But for some partners, it might be in the fact that you came to give them the gift at a particular time. You see that? It might be the sacrifice that made you understand that this is what they need in this season. Do you know you can buy a big gift for someone, very wonderful, right? The person would even appreciate it if the person is a correct person, regardless what gift it is. But it is more powerful when it is a gift that the person needs in the moment. So thoughtfulness makes you not just do anything. You don't just buy a wig. What wig has she been talking about? You want to buy a wig, for instance, and maybe you know she generally uses wig, but what wig is she talking about in that season? You want to buy a gift for your spouse now, the male, right? As a lady, what is he talking about in that season? she's a fashion designer, you want to buy a gift for her. What is the problem with what she's doing with fashion? What does she need in that season? Don't just go and buy chocolate. It's wonderful, it's nice, do you understand? But how about you just reason, oh, this person is talking about that she doesn't have this particular tool lately. Why don't you buy that tool, wrap it with a chocolate and send it to her? Or why she's just having that trouble again, you are just there and you're like, what is the problem? And she said, this is the trouble again with this what's the word now, the sewing machine. And you just bring the tool she needed out and you give it to her. Now that's you being intentional. You're not just, it makes being thoughtful makes you intentionally wanting to be aware. You are intentional about wanting to be aware of the exact thing they need. So for instance, you're not just sending messages, general messages. You are specific. Thank you for what you did yesterday. Don't just say you're a good man. Now that's not bad, right? But you want to be specific. Don't just say you have been wonderful. What are the specific things that they do or that they've done? Thank you for how you take care of the children for me. See, it blesses my heart when I see that I don't have to struggle with taking care of the children. Now I notice that there are people going through the problems of saying, will my husband take care of the children, will my husband not take care? I'm not so concerned, but I'm so grateful to God for bringing the person that doesn't give me that stress to be even concerned whether I should be talking about those guys take care of children or not. You see, you want to be specific. It makes them feel good. It makes you touch something that makes them want to do what they've been doing continuously. And sometimes even when you need them to do something, there's a message you can send to them that gives them an hint and a clue to what you expect them to be doing. Don't just send messages generally. So you want to be thoughtful. This will make you guys very, very close. Yeah, now this is becoming more interesting. Now, another reason you are not yet so close with your partner, another reason you are not yet 5 and 6, as people would call it, is you are not yet showing empathy. You are not showing empathy as you ought to be showing it. Now, this would require a lot of patience. In fact, this will teach you rather to be patient with your partner. You see, because empathy comes with a lot of patience. Because it is the ability to be able to understand and identify people's feelings. You see that their emotional state, their point of view about a thing. This requires the patience that makes you say, I feel a particular way, right? But I would be calm, I would be patient, I would chill to exactly know what this person feels like or what this person is feeling. Do you see that? So for instance, there is an argument or there is a conversation and someone is bringing an opposing view about something, right? As much as you also have an opposing view, you want to chill, because the natural state is to react based or respond based on the only thing that you are thinking, the view you are thinking about. But empathy makes you patient to want to know what exactly the other person is feeling like. Now this comes from the understanding of the fact that when you see people do something or when your partner does something, it is because they are influenced by an information. Now we should generally believe that our partners are good and they don't have ulterior motives to us or for what they are doing naturally in a healthy relationship. Now you know that they don't intentionally want to hurt you, is what I'm saying. So if they do something that seems like opposing to what you think or what you feel, then it must be that an information influenced that. Do you see that? It's an information that probably informed that attitude or that behavior. You see that? And so their ability to be patient or to be calm, to want to know what that information is, so that you can rightly address the situation. You see, people would say, in fact, scripture also says that children now, they what's the word now? They act before they think. They act before they think. Now, an adult, or what makes us an adult, is that we think, right, before we talk, or we think before we act. Now, there are several persons that are children, there are several persons that are adults, you see that. But something is very, very important also, that we are mature. Now, what makes us mature is not just that we think before we act. but we think to get the facts. You see, what we do as mature people is we get the fact. Now, the fact could be the information. We want to know why they are thinking like this. We want to ask them. This makes us ask them, why are you saying this? Instead of just running into conclusion, why did you say this? Or why did you think this way? Or why do you think we should do it this way? You see that? So you want to get the facts first. And based on the fact, you think. Because based on the fact now, you can able to actually think better. And based on this thoughtfulness that you now have, or this better thought that you have based on the fact, you can then act better. You see, one of the things this makes you become is it makes you a deliberate listener. As much as there's a lot that you want to do, as much as you have something in mind already that you want to do, you are now then deliberate to be sure, why are they thinking this way? Why are they saying this? Why do they want to take this action? You see that? Very powerful. You see, naturally, you just find out that when you become empathic now, your first, because naturally the first instinct is to want to act based on what you think. But now you are with someone, and two shall become one. You see that? Meaning you guys must find a way to agree. So if that's going to be possible, you want to know the reason why they are saying what they're saying. You want to know the reason they are saying what they're saying. You want to know the information behind what they are saying. You want to know what influenced their thoughts. You see that? Very powerful. Another reason you are not so close, or you are not 5 and 6 with your partner, is because you are not yet vulnerable. Now, I love this statement so well. Now, if you've listened to me or listened to my videos or hear me talk, you must have heard me use the word vulnerability so well. Personally, I'm a very sincere person, and I'm a very vulnerable person. And now, this is not a gift. This is what is developed. It's important that we know this, because many times people just make you feel like it's a personal, like, so you know how to do this thing because it's natural to you. No, I can tell you phases of how these things began to grow. You see, I can tell you the information that made this important. You see that? Now, it is important that you are vulnerable. Now, and many persons don't get to teach about this very well, but it's important. You can't be in a relationship or a love relationship, marriage, whatever it is, and you are not vulnerable. That is not a healthy relationship. Now, so the reason you are not yet 5 and 6 with your partner is because you are not yet vulnerable. But vulnerability is the intentional strength that actually shows or communicates honor. Do you see that? That communicates honor, trust, and importance, or the importance of your spouse or partner. It's important that I mention that it's actually strength and the ability to disclose things that you will naturally be protective or defensive about. You can't be in a relationship, love relationship, and you're not vulnerable with them. So it's important that two partners, or each of the partners, now be vulnerable. Now, there are 3 rules of thumb, and these people don't really talk about it, and this is very, very important. So it's more like a rule of thumb when it comes to vulnerability, and it is 3. Number 1 is location. You see that? Number 2 is intention, and number 3 is association. When you decide to be vulnerable, 3 things must be in place for you to be vulnerable, or for it to make it easy to be vulnerable. Number 1 is location. Now, location in the fact that it's a relationship, it's a love relationship. That's the location. It's a love relationship, and for it to be healthy, for it to be full of trust, for it to progress, for it to make progress, there must be vulnerability. Now, the 2 is intention. One other thing that should be in place for being vulnerable is the intention. The intention is to communicate to your partner that you can trust them, that you trust them, that they are dependable. You see that? That you also honor them, or that they are important. So that's the intention. And number 3 is association. So you can't be vulnerable to someone that has not earned it. So it means that when you are vulnerable to someone else, and the person must have earned it. How? By them proving or having a track record of trust, being trustworthy. So people earn it. You don't just ask someone to be vulnerable when you've not proven to be trustworthy. You've not proven to secure them or to make them feel secure. So you want someone to share the deepest part of them. You want someone to share something that pains them. You want someone to share sometimes something that makes them feel like they are wrong. or they've done something bad with you, and you've not proven to protect them, you've not had a track record of security for them, or making them be in a position where they feel secure, they can't trust you. They can't be vulnerable to you. Vulnerability will come with sincerity, and I've shared something about sincerity, or the difference between sincerity and truth. Sometimes you can say a truth, but it's not necessarily sincere. You see that? I think it was David. He says, "From the inner part, thou will know the truth." Say, "From the inner part, thou will know the truth." You see that? Now, so the truth that is from the inner part is actually sincerity. Truth is just visible. Truth can just be a fact. So why did you do that? I did that because I wanted to do it, or this is what I did. But there are times when it's sincerity, because that's actually what you did, and that's the truth. But when it's sincerity, you go deep to tell them the feelings you had while doing that. You are exposing the feelings for you doing that. You are making people see your inside. That's sincerity. So you can't be vulnerable and not sincere. You see that? So another thing that is very, very important, that makes you not to be so close, or makes you not be 5 and 6 with your partner, is you are not yet intentional. Intentionality will expose your thoughts before doing anything. Intentionality will make you be more thinking about what is the cost and the effect of a thing. You don't just do something, you think before you do. Intentionality tells you that I'm not sending a message because I want to send a message. There is an exact feeling I want this message to produce. There's an exact thing I want this message to get. So you are intentional. You don't just do things, you think before you do it. You know, one of the things intentionality makes you do, it makes you proactive. It makes you think. In fact, one of the things intentionality will make you do is it will make you call for discussions or conversations before situations warrant for them. So sometimes you can just call your partner and say, I want to talk to you about something. Can we have a time? You see that? You can call your wife, call your husband. I just like us to discuss something. Necessarily, it is not a situation. It is not an argumentative situation that brought you guys to now talk about that thing. It makes you proactive. And when that time for conversation that you've spoken to them about comes, you can tell them something like, I just wanted to know, is there something I'm doing better? Or is there something I need to do better? Is there something I need to change? It's a proof that someone is being intentional. You don't just want things to meet you. You are deliberate. It makes you proactive in your thoughts. It makes you proactive in your heart and attitude, and it makes you futuristic. So you see that you are not sending messages just because of sending messages. You are not just sending gifts because it's their birthday. You want it to produce a particular intention. You want it to produce a particular attitude, a particular atmosphere. You want things that you do to produce a particular atmosphere. You are not just cooking because you should cook. You are cooking because you want the person to feel a particular way. You are intentional. You are deliberate. You see that? That's very, very powerful. And now the final reason you and your partner are not 5 and 6, or you and your partner you are not yet so close, is you are not mature. You are not mature. I'll be doing a video that talks about the aggregate ingredient that allows for maturity. One of them is willingness and responsibility. You see, willingness and responsibility. Another is experience. I'll be doing that video in a later time. You see that? It's going to be a short video, but just to bring understanding to this, you are not mature is another reason why you are not yet so close with your partner. You see, when you sustain the ability or the understanding of maturity, your orientation changes from yourself. This is the ability that comes and makes you understand that it is not just you alone now. You don't see things just from your point of view alone. The world, in fact, maturity makes you understand that the world doesn't exist just because of you alone. You are not the only one. Now, we all know this naturally, that we're not the only one in the world. But maturity makes it like what's the word now? Indelible in your heart. It makes that mark to be inscribed in your heart that you are not the only one in the world, because you will now start not living like that. You see some persons, when something happens, they just react immediately. because of their feeling. You begin to now see that it is not just your feelings alone. Someone else is important here. Someone else has a feeling. That's what maturity does. You see that? Maturity changes your orientation. So the reason you are not yet close with your partner, which is going to be my last thought, is that you are not yet mature. Maturity teaches you that you are not yet to be served. But most importantly, you are yet to serve. As much as you are not yet alone to be served, as much as it is important to be served, I beg your pardon, but you are not yet alone to be served. You are most importantly yet to serve another person. You see that? You see, one of the things that maturity will make you come into it makes you come into a point where you begin to think about many things about one situation simultaneously. Do you see that? When a situation happens, you're not just thinking, what will I gain? You're not just thinking yourself. You're not just thinking your thoughts. You're not just thinking your feelings. You are trying to bring other people's feelings. You consider other people's feelings in everything you are doing. You consider other people's thoughts in everything you are doing. In fact, what happens is, in a situation, you will find out that you are thinking several things. What could be the possible cause of this? You're not just thinking how you feel alone. You see, what maturity will make you become is it will make you become, as a lady, a mother that is so desperately cherishing a child. You want to protect your child. You want to serve them. As much as it's important to see yourself, to protect yourself, is you want to, as much as possible, a little deviate just your thoughts and your concentration alone from you alone, and shift it towards the other person. Oh, you fell, and the only thing you can think is, why didn't you carry me? You can also think, why didn't they carry you? Try as much as possible, look at the reason or what happened that made them did not carry you. Do you understand? So when you become mature, one of the things that is great in your heart, or that is more important in your heart, is like a mother. You want to care for your child. You are concerned about your child. You see, a mother many times is not concerned about herself alone. When something happens in a situation where she and the child is, she first look at the child. And for a guy too, you become like a father. That the most important thing in your heart is to protect your daughter. That's how it becomes for you when you are now mature in a relationship. So a mature person is almost like a father, not just looking for what they did wrong, but what can you do? They are now responsible. What can I do to protect you? Even though you are wrong, even in a situation where you are wrong, what can I still do to serve like a father that protects his child? Even though you might be wrong in this video, what can I still do to serve like a mother that cherishes or adores or honors or take care of his child, or a child, I meant to say now. You see that? So that's what maturity does. Maturity makes you come to the point where you begin to think many things simultaneously for one situation. It makes you come to the point where you are not just thinking of how to serve yourself, but you are most importantly thinking, how can I serve others? I think I've come to the end of this particular video, and I believe sincerely that this video, in fact, this has blessed me. I believe this video has blessed you. If it has blessed you, share to someone. Like, I didn't say that before I start, but I believe that people would do that. For honor of this channel, I'm so grateful. It means so much to me as you continue to like. One of the things that you do when you like and subscribe to the channel is it allows several other persons to see this. You must have heard me say a few times that this is not for the gram, or this is not for whatever you call it. This is more of a purpose and a passion to make people have healthy relationships and wonderful marriages. So you like, share, and please subscribe. And share to people that this should bless. Thank you so much for being a part of this till the end. God bless you.